Hi, Anime Explained here. Today I'm going to explain the movie Spirited Away. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and enjoy. Our story begins with a 10-year-old Chihiro who's traveling to her new home with her parents. For a child to be leaving her friends and school and moving to a new place is always a difficult experience, and naturally Chihiro is mad at her parents that they made this decision. On their way to their new home, her father, who is a bit rash, takes a wrong turn that leads them through an old bumpy road into the woods. The general location of that place gives Chihiro the creeps, but her parents are too cool for her. Her dad especially thinks he is Van Diesel from the Fast and Furious series as he drives at a rampant speed through the forest. The road ends at a tunnel that leads the family to what Chihiro's dad assumes an abandoned theme park. The tunnel leads up to a greasy landscape that extends across the horizon and comes to a halt at an abandoned city. The family ends up exploring the area, crossing a small, dried-out river, and coming across a street lined with restaurants and shops. Almost all of the restaurants are deserted, but one strange restaurant has the aroma of freshly prepared dishes. They investigate it to find that there's no one around guarding the food. Chihiro's mom and dad dive in and munch down the food like a bunch of animals. They tell Chihiro to join in as well, but she isn't so fond of eating suspicious food. Chihiro wanders away to explore instead, to save herself from the embarrassment like her parents are. As she wanders the streets of the abandoned city, she comes across a large, ornate building, presumably a spa house, and a bridge leading up to it. She can't help but wonder why these buildings were abandoned, when suddenly a boy, Haku, comes to her from the other side of the bridge. His eyes widen when he sees her, and he starts asking her why she was here. Before she could answer, he tells her to leave and get back across the river before it gets dark. Confused, Chihiro runs back through the same streets, which now appear to be crowded with strange ghost-like creatures. She's scared and just wants to find her parents and get back home, but when she finds them, they're still eating and they've turned into pigs. Before she can react, the strange ghostly figures start becoming more prominent and real, frightening Chihiro and separating her from the pigs that were her parents. Chihiro runs back hoping to get across the previously small river, but finds that it's now huge. She cannot get across, and neither can she recognize the buildings on the other side. She hopes that this was all a dream, but unfortunately for her, it wasn't one. As she cowers below, hoping for this dream to disappear, she notices herself becoming translucent. Chihiro, who is only a child, is clearly distraught at the strange things happening around her and runs back into the city. Haku, who warned her away earlier, finds her cowering nearby. He goes up to her and tells her that she must eat some food from this world or she'll fade away. Chihiro thinks that she will turn into a pig if she eats the food, but he manages to convince her otherwise. She swallows the morsel he gives her and returns back to her normal self. Suddenly they notice a bird with a woman's head flying above them as if she was looking for something. Haku warns her that the bird was looking for her, and that she must get out of here as fast as she can. He takes her to the big bathhouse across the bridge. Haku says she has to hold her breath as they cross the bridge, or the spell that makes her invisible will be broken. Chihiro holds her breath as they walk past the bridge alongside many spirits and godly creatures making their way to the spa house. A strange ghost spirit walks past them, staring gleefully at Chihiro. Haku tells her that she cannot stay with him because they would find her. If she wants to be safe and even save her parents, she must find Kamaji, the boiler man, and make him give her a job. She needs the job if she's to be saved from the wrath of the witch who rules the bathhouse. Haku uses his magic to implant the way into Kamaji's place in Chihiro's mind. Chihiro follows the map and finds the boiler room. The boiler room has a strange machine being run by spiders, delivering coal one lump at a time, and a bearded man with 6 arms and dark glasses, Kamaji. She asks for a job with Kamaji, but he has no work to give. All of the work in the boiler room was done by the strange spiders, and besides, she can barely carry one piece of coal. A young woman comes in with food for Kamaji, and she's shocked to see Chihiro. Apparently, the whole bathhouse had been looking for a human. She thinks that Chihiro is the one they were looking for. However, Kamaji decides to save Chihiro and tells her that she is his granddaughter. She tells the woman, Lin, to take Chihiro to Yubaba, the proprietor of the bathhouse, who will give her something to do. Lin agrees after she's offered a roasted lizard. Lin guides her through the busy floors of the bathhouse, carefully diverting any odd spirits away from her. Chihiro then takes an elevator with a radish spirit and arrives at a court-like room. At the end of the room, Chihiro notices a large door. She tries to go in without knocking, which offends the doorknob. The doorknob insults the little girl, so much so as calling her plain and pathetic. A voice similar to the doorknob calls her in as the doors open. Chihiro is magically pulled through the house into a grand fire-lit room, and Yubaba, an old woman with a disturbingly huge head, is working at her desk. Seriously, she looks like an anime pop figure. She even has a collection of heads. There's definitely a pattern here. Chihiro asks Yubaba what she came here for, a job. Yubaba doesn't care. She seals Chihiro's mouth with magic. She has no interest in hiring someone as weak and feeble as Chihiro. She offers to turn her into a piglet instead, and asks who had helped her. Chihiro, however, is adamant and continues asking for a job. Yubaba gets angry and tells her that she will give her a job so hard that she would die before they could discuss further. They are interrupted by Yubaba's enormous baby, Bo. With the baby crying on one side and Chihiro constantly asking for a job, Yubaba agrees to give her one if she is quiet. Chihiro signs a contract and Yubaba notices that her name is very pretty. Yubaba takes the name for herself and gives her the name Sen instead. Yubaba assigns Haku, who apparently works for her, to find Sen some work in the bathhouse. Haku even acts like he has no idea who she is. The awkward silence as they go down the lift speaks for it all. In the bathhouse, none of the workers want to take Sen into their department, complaining that she smells like a human. However, Haku manages to assign Sen into working with Lin. Lin takes Sen under her wing and gives her food and some new clothes. Considering the awkward elevator ride she had shared with Haku, who had previously been so helpful to her, she asks Lin if there are two Hakus. Lin tells her that there's only one Haku, and he was Yubaba's henchman. She warns Sen to be careful of the guy. The next morning, as Sen lies sleeping among her new co-workers, Haku whispers to her to meet him at the bridge. She wakes up, dresses in her new clothes, and makes her way out to the bridge. On the bridge, she notices the same dark, semi-transparent spirit from last night, watching her with a creepy look on his face mask. Ignoring the ghost, she meets up with Haku on the other side, who leads her to the huge piggery. Among hundreds and hundreds of pigs, she's easily able to recognize her parents. She promises that she would help them at all costs. Haku then gives her back her old clothes, which she'll need to escape, and a card with her real name, Chihiro, which Sen has almost forgotten already. Haku warns her that Yubaba steals people's names and makes them her slaves, so she should never forget her real name like he had forgotten his. Haku then leads her back to the bridge and goes away when Chihiro isn't looking. However, she does get a glimpse of a dragon flying away and realizes that it was Haku. Later, Sen, along with the other workers, clean the floors of the bathhouse, and as she dumps her pail out on the garden floor, she notices the same spirit from the bridge and tells him that he can come in if he's getting wet. She then leaves the door open and he follows her in. Lin and Sen then scrub a huge bathtub filled with grass and dirt. In order to get the tub cleaned quicker, Lin sends Sen, try saying that 10 times fast, to the foreman for an herbal soap token. Outside, a large spirit that looks like a pile of mud slowly makes its way towards the bathhouse. The foreman refuses to give Sen a soap token. It's simply too expensive to be wasted on a simple cleaning job. The man wants cheap labor, nothing more. The silent spirit from earlier is right there and secretly hands her the token regardless. After the big tub is cleaned, the silent spirit approaches Sen once again, this time with several soap tokens. He clearly wants to make friends with her. Meanwhile, Yubaba has identified the walking mud pile as a stink spirit and assigns Sen to take him to the big tub and bathe him. Sen can hardly speak. The smell from the spirit is so bad that you can see it, cartoon style. As Sen gives the spirit a bath, which seems to be taking forever, she feels something like a thorn in the stink spirit's side. Yubaba notices this as well and gives Sen a rope to tie to the thorn. The entire bathhouse staff works together in pulling the rope tied to the thorn, which releases a huge pile of junk stuck in the spirit's body. I'm guessing this was a river spirit. Come on guys, be good, don't litter. When the slime clears, an ancient-looking brown face appears and congratulates Sen for her work. The spirit then disappears, handing Sen a green ball. As the slime and mud clears from the floor, everyone notices that there were bits of gold lying around. Amongst all the excitement, Sen notices the silent spirit alone and dull. That night, a frog worker goes into the room with the big tub and meets the silent spirit. The spirit eats the frog and is able to use his voice. He also has another power. He can grow as many gold nuggets from his hands as he wants. Sen takes the river spirit's gift to the piggery, hoping that it would turn her parents back to humans, and they could escape this place. But this time, she can't tell which pigs are her parents. Later, Sen notices the white dragon spirit again, Haku, who is being attacked by a group of white birds. Sen opens her balcony door so the dragon can fly into her room and closes the doors on the birds, which turn out to be made of paper. The dragon spirit appears to be bleeding and rushes out of the room. Sen is worried about her friend and follows him. Back at the bathhouse, the silent spirit is eating every food given by the staff and offering them gold. Sen bumps into him but refuses his gold. Like, move on, dude. Sen gingerly climbs to the top of the bathhouse and into Yubaba's room through a window, which one of the paper birds slips through and unlocks for her. Sen goes out the main room, where Haku lies bleeding in dragon form. Bo, the baby, follows and demands that Sen play with him. Just then, the paper bird, who had followed her, turns into a woman who looks just like Yubaba. She quickly turns the pestering baby into a mouse and the head collection into a baby. Good riddance. The woman introduces herself as Zeniba, Yubaba's twin sister. She tells Sen that she was attacking Haku because he stole her magical golden seal, and she wants it back. The seal carries a curse that Zeniba says will kill anyone who steals it, and so Haku would now die. Almost instinctively, Haku snaps his tail and shreds Zeniba's illusion in half, and she falls apart. Haku and Sen fall through a hole and manage to land in the boiler room. Once then, Sen feeds the injured dragon a part of the river spirit's gift. In an instant, Haku spits up Zeniba's gold seal, which she had taken, and a black slug that Sen crushes to death. Haku then changes back to human form, but he's still severely ill. Sen is worried for Haku, whose condition doesn't seem to improve. Kamaji thinks Zeniba may be able to help if Sen asks, and despite her being very dangerous and somehow crazier than her sister, Sen agrees. Kamaji gives Sen train tickets to go to Zeniba's house at Swamp Bottom. He says the train only runs one way now, so Sen will have to walk along the tracks to return to the bathhouse. Meanwhile, the silent spirit, who is recognized as No-Face by Yubaba, is calling for Sen. Yubaba tells Sen to get every last bit of gold out of No-Face, who has grown huge and bloated, before evicting him from the bathhouse. No-Face actually wanted to eat Sen as well and was offering his items to comply, but Sen had rejected him every time. Seeing that the spirit was now fat and unhealthy after eating so many items and staff members, she feeds him the remaining river spirit's gift and he starts vomiting everything he ate out. He rushes after Sen and follows her up to the train station. The train comes and Sen and No-Face go aboard. Sen presents their tickets to the conductor and they ride to Swamp Bottom, where Zeniba lives. Elsewhere, Haku wakes up and Kamaji tells him how he was saved by none other than Sen, who had used true love to help him overcome the curse of the seal. Haku then goes to Yubaba and shows her that her baby was actually with Zeniba, and the baby there was a fake. He proposes that he would save the baby if Yubaba tears up Sen's contract and returns her with her parents to the human world. Yubaba agrees to do so if Sen manages to complete the final test. Sen and No-Face get off the train and go looking for Zeniba. They find her cottage after a while, and Zeniba invites them in. Sen gives back the golden seal and apologizes in Haku's stead. Zeniba tells her that the slug, which Sen had squashed, was how Yubaba controlled Haku. Just then, Haku arrives in his dragon form and Zeniba agrees to forgive him if he takes care of Sen. No-Face decides to stay back with Zeniba as her helper, since he had nowhere else to go. He was following Sen around since he was lonely and without purpose, but now he had one. Sen then gets on Haku along with the mouse baby and they fly off. As they fly, she remembers back when she was small she had dropped her shoe in a river and almost drowned trying to get it back. But the river had carried her ashore. It was the Kohaku River. Haku is the Kohaku river spirit and can't find his way home because the river had been filled in. Back at the bathhouse, Yubaba tells Sen that she can go along with her parents if she can solve the final test. Sen must pick out her real parents from a crowd of pigs. Sen points out none of the pigs are her parents. She passes the test and her contract evaporates out of Yubaba's hand. Sen then runs off with Haku, who tells her that her parents are on the other side of the river. He promises that he and Sen will meet again. As she walks past the tunnel, Chihiro hears her parents call for her once again and reunites with them finally. And the family once again return back to their journey, albeit in a car covered with moss. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.